Hello, back again for my spring break at the movies. Seen a bunch of films that I've kind of wanted to see. Didn't get a chance to for one reason or another during the regular week. I'll try to do this. I got a little bit of a headache, sinuses, I think, or just stress of life, but whatever. Um, so, A United Kingdom. This was a good movie. This was a very good movie. Um, and like a lot of good movies I see, one that is sadly underrepresented in advertising or in anything, really. I mean, it's really. If I didn't go to Ridgeway cinemas regularly, then I wouldn't have seen a trailer for this. I wouldn't have known anything about it, and I think that's kind of sad because I think it's a really good film. Timely, though that's kind of depressing, but still. So yeah. So for those who don't know, and that would probably be almost everybody, so this movie is a true story about the heir apparent to the throne of what at the time, I may mispronounce this. I'm going to mispronounce a lot in this video, so I apologize to anybody. But the soon-to-be king of Botswana land, the land that would eventually become Botswana in Africa, and he's a student in England studying law, and he falls in love with a white woman. And they get married, and it's kind of the whole fallout and just how much, another way to say it, how much shit hits the fan because this guy decided to marry a white woman. And in some ways it's a film exactly like you think it is, but in other ways I think it does some things very, very clever and very, very smart, and the whole film is about, them, kind of the trials and tribulations of it, everything that the British government tries to do to keep this from happening for various political reasons, ultimately leading, spoiler alert, to them exiling him, for life, and him having to get back to her, and and all this, and eventually leading to them dissolving the monarchy. He and the king and his uncle, who he's feuding with, dissolving the monarchy so that he can be with his wife and rule over his people democratically. So it's a film about prejudice. It's a film about love. It's a film about politics. It's all these things kind of wrapped up, and yet done very, very well. This is a movie, again, I say this a lot after I go to see a film at Ridgeway. This is a film like I don't feel like we make very much anymore. This is a film kind of about people, and it's got all these different elements all tied up to it. And yet nothing feels like it's really overlooked. Nothing feels like it's getting too preachy. Nothing feels this, that, or the other thing. They try to keep it centered on the tale of these two people and what it meant for them. Things I liked. The cast in this is phenomenal. I cannot pronounce the gentleman who plays the main character. I know his first name. The actor's first name is David. I cannot pronounce his last name, and I do not want to disrespect him by butchering his name. So I'm just going to refer to him as David, who's an actor I've never seen before, and I was checking his IMDb page before I came out to drive away to try to learn more about him. And really, I haven't seen anything he's been in, but he was phenomenal in this. Very understated. I love understated acting. I love when not everything has to be right out there on the surface. When you can play things close to the vest. So I really, really appreciated that, and he did a great job. There's a part towards the beginning of the picture where he's making this speech to his people about I never broke my word to you. Just because I married a white woman doesn't mean that I'm not of this place, that I don't love you people too, and that I'm not going to do everything I can to, be a good king. And he's doing it with such passion and having a strong stance, and at the same time, like, tears are rolling down his eyes. And it was a really beautifully, and again, understated performance. It was all played so close to the vest and so natural that it was really beautiful, and I really liked his performance. So, sir, I hope to see you in more things. He was a really excellent actor. This film also starred Rosamund Pike, British actor who, in my opinion, is one of my favorite and most underrated actors currently working today. She's phenomenal. Everything she's in, she's good in. And the fact that she's not a bigger star, in one way, I think is kind of a tragedy. She's a really great actor. On the other hand, the fact that she's not in demand as much as some of these others, I think it frees her up to do more and do some more films like this, which are smaller and really get to show her off as an actor and really benefit from having an actor of her caliber in them. But she's fantastic in this. She's fantastic in everything, especially when you consider that her very first film was that James Bond abomination, Die Another Day, and she was like the only good thing in it. That's the only thing I can say I liked about that movie was her, and she does a really phenomenal job in this. And I gotta mention my boy Draco Malfoy. I gotta mention Tom Felton, who is in this, and yes, once again he is playing the weasel, the worm, the guy you just want to hate. And man, God bless him, nobody does it as good as him. He's the best in the business right now. He has taken Sean Bean's old role. Before, Sean Bean was the guy who was killed in every movie. Sean Bean was the bad guy in everything. You knew going in that if you saw Sean Bean, he was going to be the bad guy. Matter of fact, I remember some years back, they made some movie about a woman who was working in a coal mine, and she was suing the people she worked with for sexual harassment. I don't remember. It wasn't a very popular film. But I remember Sean Bean was in it, and he was playing the main character's best friend's husband. And the minute I saw him, I was like, oh man, he's gonna try to rape her or something, because he's always the villain, he's always the bad guy. And no, he was a really nice guy in that. It was very shocking. He was like, wait, you're Sean Bean, you're always the villain. But anyway, Tom Felton is gonna take on that role, having spent his formative years perfecting it, playing Draco Malfoy. He is now he's the best at it. But what's funny to me is that he's also proven very recently that he can do other things. If anybody is a fan of Tom Felton and wants to see him play something other than the ass, watch the current season of Flash, at least up to the point at which I'm recording this, where he's playing kind of a jackass, but a nice jackass. So he's showing he's got layers, but man, he plays the worm and the weasel and everything else just so well. He does a really great job. And the other villain, this is the only guy not that I didn't like the performance or didn't like the actor, but I really did feel like he was the only one that was really cliche. Tom Felton's role was kind of cliche, but I don't know, Tom Felton just pulled it off. But this guy, and the only thing I know him from was he played Norrington in the original 3 Pirates of the Caribbean movies. So I'm just going to call him Norrington. So Norrington is playing the ambassador or something to Botswanaland, who's just always who's always delivering all this evil news. And I feel like he's auditioning to be a Bond villain. Everything he says is just so evil and just so, oh, you thought you were going to go home to your country? That's not going to happen. Everything kind of has that bent to it. But he was good. It was just I felt like that character was the only one that didn't really feel three-dimensional. But minor complaint. The that maybe is a little bit of a complaint about this movie is that, at least when I was watching it, I don't know, now that I'm kind of thinking about it in retrospect, maybe I'm wrong, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more time of the falling in love. You know, it seems like their meeting, their courtship, and their marriage all happened in a very, very quick, couple of minutes. And really, I mean, they're trying to get through that so they can get to the, get to the point, get to the real story, which is all this shit people try to do to keep them apart. So I get that, but I think from an audience standpoint, it would have been nice to have seen a little bit more time of them falling in love to kind of know what they were fighting for, because they were told all the time that they're in love, they're dedicated to each other, but I don't think we got to see that develop. But then again, being fair, if they had spent all the time with that I kind of wanted them to, the movie would probably have been about 4 hours long, and no one wants to sit there for that long. I mean, something's got to get cut. So anyway, that's kind of the only thing I find really fault with. But I want to praise this movie for something that I really liked, because I mean, we've seen this kind of story, maybe not this particular story, but we've seen the story, the prejudice of the mixed race couples and what they have to go through. We've seen that story a lot, and I'm not trying to say this right, and I don't mean to offend anybody, so please bear with me. But the point of view we always come at it from are these people, the couples, mixed race couples, and it's always from the white point of view, meaning that it always seems like the people trying to keep these couple apart are the bigoted white people. And I'm sure, and that is truth. There is truth to that. Now, please don't misunderstand me and think I'm defending it in any way. But we always seem like that's the antagonist in stories like this. And what this film does a really nice job of is number one, it shows just how segregated these people became from both cultures, and how the African community looked at them, and how hard it was for her to fit into their culture and their community. It wasn't just about evil white people hating him. And what I also like is it never made the African people seem evil for it. You understood where they were coming from. You understood where their concern and their prejudice, so for lack of better terminology, where it was coming from. But they made it so you saw how hard it was for both people in the relationship and not just the one, and I liked that, and I also liked that it showed how gradually the people on both sides, in some cases, came around to it, and kind of selling that notion that if you get to know the person and not just the skin color, that there's more in common than you think. And I like that it did that without having to make a huge Henry V type speech about it. A lot of lesser films would feel like that to hit you over the head with the lesson, and this one kind of just lets it come about as part of the story and lets you just kind of realize it as it goes. And I liked that a lot about this. It's sad to me that this is so timely, because it feels like there was a time, and it doesn't feel like there was a time, that time was that long ago, where this film would have come out and kind of the thing you would feel while watching it is, wow, look how far we've come, look how much better we are now. And the fact that that's not the feeling I get anymore from watching a film like this is a bit depressing, that we still have to we still have to learn the lesson over and over and over again, that we're not we're as a country, as a culture, and I'm not just talking in America, I'm talking as a world culture, we're still not past this. We're still not, it's kind of despicable on all our parts. And I think we need to, and in the film, the metaphor doesn't have to be between, a white and a black person. You can apply this to any mixed culture or mixed race or whatever you want to call it. I never liked the term mixed race because I always believed that we're the same race, so it's not a mixed race. We're all human, so let's say mixed culture, But you could take kind of the lessons of this and apply it to kind of any mixed culture couple or relationship that has to go through these things. And in a way, that's good because it makes the message universal. In a way, that's sad that we still got to deal with that. I mean, it really is. But I'm trying not to be too much of a downer here, because this is a good, tight little movie. Oh, there's only one other thing I can find some fault with, and they did this really a lot in the early part of the film, but not as the film went on. Is that in the early part of the film, when they're going through that really quick courtship, they had a lot of scenes, little short scenes, that just kind of happen, and then they immediately cut to something else, and you have no idea why this other scene was in the movie. Like, they have a scene with Rosamund Pike, after she meets him, and they go on their first date and all that, and they have a scene of her in her office, and she's at her office, she's looking at a piece of paper, she gets up, she walks over to another woman, and then we cut to the next scene. It's like, so why did we need that in there? Why? You could have just cut that little chunk out. Especially when you consider how long it takes you to, especially in a period piece like this, you gotta get the costumes, you gotta get the makeup, you gotta set the scene, you gotta get the cameras and the lights set up, you gotta have all the extras in place, you gotta make sure all the props are ready, and all that for a scene that, really, what the hell did you need that for? And it does that a couple times. There's a couple of little scenes in there that you're just like, wait, why did that scene have to happen here? There's this moment later in the film where the two of them, the Rosamund Pike and David, are having a conversation in the car, and this scene only lasts like a minute, and then they cut to another scene, like supposedly when they get home, and them still discussing it. It's like, well, you could have just staged the whole scene there. Again, when you consider how long it takes to set up a shot or a day of filming and all that, it's like, you could have consolidated this a little bit. That was another funny thing about this movie, because what you get used to when you go to the movies now, especially when you see some of the things I've seen like Kong and whatnot, is you're used to the end credits going on forever. And this one, I was checking IMDb for some of the names of the actors, and by the time I was done, the credits were over, and you're like, wait, what? Because there's no CGI in this. It's all natural. It's all real. It's all practical. And I thought that was, and man, some of the cinematography in this is really gorgeous. And any film where they're just kind of flying over the landscape and just showing you the mass and the immensity of Africa and all that, it's really gorgeously shot. And this one does a really good job of that. So anyway, I'm going around in circles. Just kind of saying, I don't know if this is a film I'd buy. I don't know if it's a film I'd watch again. But it's definitely a good movie. And I think if I was like a history teacher or something, this would be a film I'd want to make sure I had kind of in my back pocket, because I think there's a lot in this that's really good. I would advise, if you want to see a really well-acted, really well-written, cleverly directed, simple little movie. There's nothing really in this that's going to reach out and grab you or anything that's revolutionary. It's going to knock you on your ass. But it is the best possible version of what it's trying to be. So again, I don't know if I'm gonna, if I'll recommend, I'm recommending this movie, but I don't know if, thinking ahead several months, if this one's gonna end up on a top 10 list or anything like that. But I think it's a good little movie. I think its heart is definitely in the right place. The actors are all doing an amazingly, and again, I stress, understated job. And that's something and when I say understated, the best thing I can relate it to is it feels more like a stage play. They're all acting very much like you would see on the stage. They're not doing big movie acting. I mean, they're doing something you'd see if you went to a black box theater, and where you're very close to the audience and to the actors, and you can see the emotion they're going through on their face. That's when I say understated, that's what I'm kind of referring to. And I really like that. You don't see acting like that often, and I want to see more of it. So I want to support this movie. I want you to support this movie. Again, if you're in that kind of mood, go see it. It's not going to waste your time. Again, not going to grab you, not going to teach you anything new, but it's a good film, and I want to support it. So yes, that's my review. So got a couple other films I'm looking to go see during this spring break, and I'll of course let you know how those go. So until then, drive safe, and I'll see you at the movies.